Hi everybody and welcome back or welcome to Weirdly Tropicals. Today what I'm filming is the very first episode of season 2 for the Tropical Seed Grow Along series. I've got 4 plants to run over today. The format for this, just so you know what you're going to get, is information about where they are found, the conditions that they grow in there, interesting facts about potentially that region, the actual plant itself, and then a full kind of sowing guide is what I'm going to use, as well as all the equipment that I use as well. I'll try and put the chapters in, so if you want to skip ahead, that's fine. But if you can, try and survive till the end. It gives me the golden handshake with YouTube to say that the video is worth watching. Don't forget to subscribe as well, because this is going to be a follow-on series. So as these things germinate, whether it's episode 4, 5, 6, whatever, I'm going to display to show that what germination I've had. The community tab is also open, so it'll give you an option this time around to be able to post your successes, see if you can beat me to it. Like I say, I've grown quite a few things from seed, but none of this stuff really. So you've got as much a chance as me as anything else. I've got some really interesting information about these plants as well, and some real confusing information as well, which I'm going to run over a little experiment that I'm going to be doing. But like I say, subscribe to the channel because it spurs me on to keep cracking on. Apologies that this video is late. It should have been out around about a week, 2 weeks ago. It was supposed to come out pretty much at the same time as the introduction to the series. But I've had man flu over the last, I think it's nearly been like 2 weeks. So as you can imagine, I've nearly died several times. But I'm back from the brink just to kind of make sure that you guys can still keep growing from seed. Without further waffle, let's get at it. So just before we start, we're going to go over what equipment that we can use. As I said in the actual introduction, you can use anything from a yogurt pot onwards, as long as it's got drainage and it can hold the soil. You can use it. I've got a little bit more of a professional setup here. So got things like the 1/2 and 1/4 size seed trays, whatever size they are. So they've got nice little drainage in the bottoms of those. You can fill them up to the little rim in there, makes it really easy for watering. So they're a really good option. A bit of a step up from that one is the 12 cell. What these are useful for is when we put the coir pellets inside, which I'll show you in a second, I'll be able to see the roots through the side. So quite often when these plants germinate, the roots fly down first. So it might give me a couple of days head start before the top growth comes to know. That one's got a built-in light as well, which is useful. That was from Timu, so they're really useful. The other two were on Amazon. On top of that, one of my favorites as well, it's just a normal little pot, but it comes with a humidity dome. Very, very useful. Again, that was a Timu special as well. And then basically the material that we're going to use, it's going to be a split between two, same material, but it's in 2 different methods. So got the little dinky coir pellets, which if that'll come in focus. And then what happens is when you soak those in warm water, they emerge like that. They kind of expand. Kind of like them old school spongy kind of things. Use a magic sponge, what you used to get when you was a kid. You're supposed to chuck them in and expand out and things like that. So it works in exactly the same way. So we've got different methods there. The good thing is, as I was saying before about the pellet side, is if you put those pellets inside there, I'll be able to see those roots emerging. What I like to do as well is I'll just put a bit of material for those ones that are a little bit shorter. I'll put a little bit of coir at the bottom just to bring that to roughly just underneath the thing. So when I water it, the water doesn't fly straight over the edge, but I don't want it as low as that. What I'm going to do with a lot of these, I'm going to try, where there's not 10,000 seeds in the packet, I'm going to try and individually sow those in the pellets, because then when they're done, you can just pull those out. You can, of course, fill these with just normal coir, sieved compost, whatever it is that you want to use. Do them as normal and then push them from the bottom. The reason I'm not doing that this year is I had quite a few last year that those hadn't kind of gone like solid, if you know what I mean. So when I popped them, holding it by the leaf, I ended up with holding the leaf with the little stem, and all the roots were exposed while the dirt remained inside, because it was like a free draining thing, so it hadn't kind of all clogged together, if you know what I mean. Probably could have waited for it to root more so the roots would have held it, but I didn't want to. So basically what I'm going to be doing is using that particular method with the pellets together, because I find it easier to extract them. If you find it easier to surface sow on one tray, then go with that. So I'm not here to convert people. I'm just kind of giving people some options of what they can do. What we're going to be doing then is going forward. That's just the equipment out of the way. Like I say, I use the coir bricks, soak those in like a bucket or whatnot, and then I mix it with perlite for the normal mix as well. So it'd be perlite and coir in if I'm filling the seed tray, and it's just giving me the coir pellet with maybe a little bit of coir in the bottom just to raise the height up when I'm talking about the pellet side. So without further waffle, let's get out the exciting stuff. So let's have a little look at the plants. That's enough waffling now. So I've got the Gunnera. I believe it's called INSIGNIS. It's absolutely beautiful. Native to Costa Rica and Panama. So within that tropical climate where they traditionally have a wet and dry season. It's not like ours where it's temperate, where it's 4 seasons. A lot of these, when I'm talking about the high and low, it's within 2 seasons. So the highs over there between 18 and 26 degrees C, and 14, between 10 and 14 on the low end. So not too much of a kind of range in kind of temperature, but it's very, very humid environment. And that's what these things thrive in. These only get frost, from what I understand online, in like the mountains at the summit level, because their temperatures are to do with altitude. Obviously, the higher the altitude, the colder it gets, versus the lower ones where people traditionally live, see that normal year-round fluctuation between about 10 odd degrees with that. As with all Gunneras, because they're like kind of like boggy, marshy, wetlands kind of plants, they like that wet, rich, heavy feeders as well. So that kind of stuff afterwards. So when I pop these on, the coya will suffice just to get them to germinate, but then afterwards I'm going to put them in proper compost that will be full of nutrients, and I will feed those. The coya, because it's a sterile mix, it holds no nutritional value from what I understand at all. So you need to feed them pretty quickly. Obviously the seeds do have energy stored within those seeds, so they'll be okay for the first 1, 2, 3 leaves onwards, but you'll notice that they'll start yellowing unless you start feeding them. So I'll move those quickly into actual sieved compost or proper compost, depending on what size pot that I put those in. The size of these is between 2.3 meters tall and 2.3 meters spread. Obviously the higher end of that is if they get the perfect conditions. Yeah, and these ones, again, from your normal morning sun onwards to full sun. Mine got burnt last year. So I think looking at that, I think if they get that kind of dappled shade, the kind of morning sun, rather than when you get a bit of a heat wave in the UK, it did frazzle the leaves. But again, I'm not sure if that was because I put the sprinkler on, the water gets on, it burns the leaves anyway. So they might be okay to try from full sun to dapple shade within that kind of range. The leaves are big enough that they're going to pull, I would imagine, enough from the rays that they get in order to charge the plant as well. The interesting thing is, what I'm going to be kind of fully transparent with you now, is the information that was on the seed packet, if you can see on there, was saying about not using any artificial heat because it doesn't help with the germination. They need cold, so you'd essentially put them in one of those trays or whatnot, soak them, and then put them in a cold greenhouse or outside somewhere where they're not getting absolutely sloshed all the time, so somewhere just cold, and then they'll emerge in spring. However, AI couldn't have been further away from that. So AI was going, that's a load of waffle, they don't need cold at all. They will just germinate, because where they come from in Costa Rica and Panama, they don't see cold. So they won't need that. However, the information, when I went down a bit of a black hole with this really, and what I learned from online, again, I've not put this into practice yet, but a lot of the seed companies will blanket that information to say that they need cold when they've stored the seed for a period of time. So it will give you an option to break dormancy, like a secondary option to break dormancy through the cold if the seeds have been stored, because these are the ones on the seed packet. Says so straight away, don't hold on to these. What I'm going to teach you to do today is exactly what's on the seed packet, okay? But I am going to do a test. It's not a scientific test by any means. There's 10 seeds in the packet. So I'm going to put 5 of them in the greenhouse following exactly the method that's on here. And then I'm going to do 5 following AI. So we're going to see what information works from there. Like I say, if you went over to Costa Rica now, picked these off a plant and just sowed them there, I'm sure they would germinate absolutely fine. So I wonder whether it's just the storage and stuff as to why our information in the UK is slightly different. But I'm only going to sow 10 seeds, so you could argue, there'll be people screaming at the TV by now going, that's not a scientific test. That's absolutely fine. I'm not sowing 10,000 seeds to do this. So this is just for a bit of fun. I'm going to put 5 in one, 5 in the other, and that'll be enough for me to form my opinion going forward as to that's the particular best method. Of course, if you want to do thousands and really take it to the next level, feel free. But if I get 5 in there, 5 in there, if I get 5 of them germinating there and none of them in there, I'm not going to follow that advice again. They're not going in the cold greenhouse. They're always going to have heat, and vice versa. If the seed company know more than what AI says, which I imagine they probably do, because of where they pull their information from and things like that. Then we'll know from there. So definitely subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to have this as a follow-on thing. I want to learn as well. So as I said to you before, I've never sown these. I've got no experience with these particular seeds. So you're going to see these things winning, losing with me as well. So feel free to get the same seeds and then we can go at it. So like I say, they should germinate in 2 to 8 weeks. Surface sow these. They need bright light and it's 18 to 22 degrees C. They advise as well on the humidity dome. So it could be that if you've got something like that, that's the best particular option for those. What I'm going to do is use the 12 cell, as I said to you before, put those in, put the lid on top, and that should be absolutely fine as well. And like I say, I'll come to you now with the next planters. So again, usually the seed videos are not that kind of left and right, go this way or go that way. They normally follow a strict thing. But again, I don't know if it was just the ones that I selected for this particular episode, but the Eucomis bicolor pineapple lily there also has AI saying one thing and the seed packet saying something completely different. So I'm going to tell you the seed packet information. I'm going to tell you AI. Again, place your bets with all of these, which ones you think is going to win. So the Eucomis bicolor, known as the pineapple lily because of the pineapple shaped tuft at the top. It's really nice. Comes from South Africa, traditionally grows over there in grasslands, rocky kind of slopes and things like that. The native climate over there, the summer's between about 24 and 30 degrees C, and their winter period, if you want to call it a winter period, whatever it is between 2 and 8 C. So actually not that cold at all. I'm sure they feel it over there, but it's not as cold as I was in the UK. And maybe wherever you are as well. The name, obviously, as I mentioned, gets it from the tuft on the top. It's a really interesting colour from like the yellows, maroons and things. I'll see if I can get it on there. It's really interesting. I really like the top of it as well, because it kind of, when they're first emerging, it looks like a little mini palm tree, kind of that kind of shape on there. What else is nice is like there's like a mottling kind of colour on the stems. It's like green, and then like with green kind of like circular kind of almost like a leopard print on there as well. It looks really nice. The interesting thing from this one is that it gets pollinated by flies. So I remember, I think it was like last year or the year before, I was going around the garden, it smelled like something had died, so I was poking around in the border trying to find, like, to see if there was some animal or something left in there. And then I researched, it was these. The weird thing is AI said that it's got a sweet fragrance on there. That wasn't what I experienced. And then, like I say, anywhere else online said that it absolutely stinks. And because things that are pollinated by flies traditionally is through like animal carcasses, like, or like rotting fruit and things like that. So it's not going to be something that you'd want to get a Yankee candle of a Eucomis, because it would make your living room stink. So I'm going to go with my own personal information. Maybe you smell it slightly different. I know I had somebody comment before on Sakakaka when I was growing out. I thought it smelled absolutely nice, and they said it smelled like something very, very different than what I thought. So maybe it's an individual thing. The sowing information on this one, right? So this is the AI information. AI says that it gets between 45 and 60 centimeters tall, 30 centimeters spread, and that's pretty consistent with most what online said. Loves full sun, you can cope in part shade, and you keep them dry over winter to stop them rotting out. The germination advice for AI is surface sow them, they need light, don't cover them with any material or whatever, and 18 to 22 degrees. Should germinate between 3 and 12 weeks and keep them moist, okay? So with the seed packet, it says sow the seeds at any time, cover them thinly with compost or grit. So that part is in agreement with that. It says keep the seed pot in a cool, well-lit spot outdoors. Artificial heat is not needed and can prevent germination, so be very patient. And again, same information about they might emerge in spring. So again, I'm going to do 50-50. Some are going to follow the AI advice and some of them are going to go in the greenhouse. It's wicked because it means it will save me some room in the Vitapod as well. And then, like I say, I'll come to you with the best results once they're in. But the Eucomis bicolor is absolutely a beautiful addition. Without further waffle, we'll get on to the next one. And finally on to plant 3, where we're kind of getting some agreements between the seed packet and what AI was telling me. So we're kind of in a bit more calmer waters as we are at the moment. But this is the, I think it's called Cautleya GRACILIS or something like that. Cautleya GRACILIS. These ones are native to the Himalayan region. It's like Nepal, North India, and Sikkim, which is where the Musa sikkimensis comes from. These plants, beautiful, kind of very similar kind of leaf form to maybe something like a canna lily, something like that. That kind of vibe, but the flowers on them are beautiful. That kind of like red and yellow. And as I banged on about it before, saw it on that Georgie's video where he went that new build, forget the name of it, but he'd done an absolute cracking job and he'd got quite a lot of these in the border. So I thought, get on that. I bought 3 seed packets of these because I am going to go hell for leather, following the advice and then not following the advice. So this is getting a little bit more scientific now, and it's typical on the one that they almost agree with. So these grow in the cloud forests over in that region. It's obviously just really humid, like quite misty kind of conditions over there. The summers are between 18 and 25 degrees C, and the winter period, or monsoon season, whatever you want to call it as, is between 2 and 6. So not actually that cold. The interesting fact with these, or a fact about these, is the fact that they do die back over winter. So they'll die back to the ground, kind of like a colocasia, pink china, for example, and then re-emerge quite vigorous, ready to have it in spring. The size of these is 40 to 70 centimetres, so not that tall, and about a 40 centimetre spread. So quite a nice compact plant. Can take full sun, it's probably preferred, and they can take some part shade as well. The germination on these ones, AI said surface sow between 15 and 20 degrees C. Keep them moist and it will germinate between 4 and 10 weeks. The packet advises that the germination may be quicker if kept at 15 to 20 degrees, so exactly the same information as that, but also advise that many seeds will not come up in the year that they're sown. So even if we sow them now, keep them at that, they'll emerge in spring anyway. But again, it does say on there, needing winter chilling after sowing and then come up with natural germination. So slight difference again with the cold versus not. I think we'd be okay with these because the whole point of the Vitapod is, I mean, they've been in my tiki bar. They've had a little bit of a cold spell because I've not had them heated anyway, and it's only been a couple of weeks, but chuck them in there, see what's what. I know some people will put them in the fridge, but the reason that's stopping me doing that is everything says sow immediately. So when you hold on to the seed trying to put them through the fridge and all the rest of it, they're losing the viability every single day that they're not being sown. The seeds are drying out and stuff like that. So you're in a bit of a battle of trying to manipulate the season by putting them through the fridge for, say, a couple of months or something to then try and germinate them. Whereas if you just try and follow the advice and just put them in a cold greenhouse or outside where they're not getting soaking wet, maybe that will work a little bit quicker, but at least they're in the ground, not drying out. So interesting one with that one, an absolutely gorgeous plant. I can't wait to have loads of those in the garden. Let me see if I can put it on there. Looks absolutely fantastic. I'll see if I can find any information, but Instagram is a wicked resource for just banging in the name of a plant and then looking at what everybody else has got. So again, on to the next one, which is another Gunnera, and I'll give you a bit of a summary and then we're done for the first episode. So the very last one is another Gunnera, but I got this one because it's quite an interesting, kind of like, maybe is it Farfugium, something like that I'm thinking of. It's kind of got a similar heart-shaped pattern to it. So this one is Gunnera PERPENSA, which is known as the river pumpkin or wild rhubarb. It's got quite a nice, I don't know what you call those, but like where the seeds come out of it. Some places would call it like a stretched strawberry, that kind of vibe. South Africa again, from the wetlands, bog, marsh, where that is over there. The climate over there, traditionally where these grow, is between 22 and 30 degrees C. And then the low temperature is between 4 and 10 degrees C. Where they grow, a mild frost is possible, is what they said. So the size for these ones is a lot smaller than like the manicatas and things like that. It's between 1 metre and 1.5 metres tall. And 1 metre spread. The germination for AI said surface sow these, keep them at 18 to 22, needs light and keep the soil moist and will germinate within 3 to 10 weeks. So the seed packet said germination may be quicker if kept at 15 to 20 degrees C, but many seeds will not come up the year that they're sown, need winter chilling. So couldn't have picked 4 seeds that pretty much had the same advice on every single one of them. These were all just picked these at random as well out of the seed packet, and they've all got the same advice to them. So we're going to do a little bit of a test. Honestly, place your bets. No point doing it after we know. We want to put it on now. We work at the seed company, know what they're talking about. Or whether the all-seeing eye, AI that knows everything, apparently, knows better than everyone else. So we're going to test those methods. And like I say, over the coming weeks, as those results come in, or if I fail at both of them, I'll let you know. So those are the plants that we've got for this episode. Really grateful for anybody that watches these. I put an awful lot of effort in. I've been researching these for probably about 3 or 4 days now to try and make sure I got the right information and things like that. And normally I do my introduction in one take, but that took 20 today. 20 takes of me saying the complete wrong thing in the start of the video. So I appreciate anybody that gets to the start. Maybe I'm still trying to struggle through my illness, but I'll bang these videos out as quick as possible on there. Like I say, I'll try and put the full list in the description. So if you want to grow the same things as I am at the same time, that's absolutely fine. The methods are the same with a lot of the seeds anyway. They tend to either be on the lower end of the scale between like your 15 and your 25s, and then your 25 to your 35s is usually the kind of range where they sit in. So I can have one colder Vitapod and one that's a little bit more tropical style, and then kind of chuck those in there. Please let me know in the community tab when things germinate for you, because it's an exciting thing. We're saving an absolute fortune, as well as not even the money. I just like the challenge of doing that, because some of these things are quite difficult to go. I did do Cautleya before, and I had absolutely no luck with it at all. So I don't know if I'm full of confidence this time or whether it's misplaced confidence, but I'm going to give it, like I say, I'm going to give it another go anyway and see what happens. But if you've enjoyed any of this waffle, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and also there's the hype button on my videos now. So feel free, you can hype a video 3 times and then that's your limit for the week. But feel free to go hell for leather on that. Try and push me as much on YouTube as you can. And like I say, I'm probably going to have more episodes in this particular season because I did go a little bit wild. But I've got some wicked ones in there like coffee and things that I've never grown before. So yeah, let me know in the comments, and thank you very much for reaching the end of the video. It's very, very much appreciated. Thanks again.